Alright, so we want to do a quick overview of the basic setup for Ableton Live. So we're in Ableton Live9 standard. You click on that, it brings up Ableton for you. When Ableton loads, we use a product that's, in order to be able to get sound out of the computer and into a usable format, we have to have some sort of digital audio interface. Otherwise, we're just plugging in a headphone jack. We're getting 2 channels, but we need way more than 2 channels. So what we use is a digital audio interface called Connect Audio, iConnectivity Audio 4 Plus. Looks a little bit of something like this. This is what the front of it looks like. This is what the back of it looks like. You plug power into this guy right in here. And we want to make sure we plug in a USB cable into the one that says 1. That's important. It's a whole nother video as to why that happens. Then over here is where we plug our cables coming out. These 4, typically they work as, I believe this is master left, master right. We do, the actual click track comes out of 3 and the guide track comes out of 4. Because we use this for the keyboard setup with MainStage, the left and right come out of this, but this is not a balance. This is basically a headphone jack, but that's another lesson for another day. So back into Ableton. When we have this plugged up, this is just opening default type of program. We want to go here to Preferences. Under Preferences, we want to click on Audio. Right now it's telling us that the audio output device is just the headphone jack. We want to come down here to iConnectivity Audio 4 Plus, and we can do output configuring. 1 and 2 is our stereo, left and right. Then 3 and 4 we actually get to have mono channels. You don't have to mess with that, but if you've never plugged it up before, you might need to configure that. So what I'm going to do here is pull up one of our sets. This is one from a couple of weeks ago. Kind of give you an idea of what it looks like. In order to open a set inside of Ableton, there's a couple ways. I've set it up so that you have to select places, which is basically folders that Ableton knows where and how to go look. You can add those folders here, but we've kind of got those set up. Or you can go File, you can tell it to open a live set, and then you have to navigate through the various places on your hard drive where it is. Or you can go File and say Open Recent Set. And we can come down here to SN Life, and they're all labeled. SN Life is the set name, then it has the date in which it would happen, 062516. So to give you an idea of what it takes to actually create a set is, once a track gets formatted, I store all of the formatted information in a folder very appropriately named Formatted Tracks. These are all of the tracks that we have done and we have formatted. Some of them, if we've done them in different keys, like Can't Stop Your Love is in A, then we've also done Can't Stop Your Love in G. Born is the King, we have 3 different tracks for. Sometimes that's based on, we get there and we want to do it different. We have a different singer and they can do it only in a different key. Some songs like Amazing Grace with Bethel, we've shortened one version of it. Some it's a full version, some it's a response version. So all that, it basically gets labeled. I try to use the same basic code structure where it's the name of the song, followed by the key of the song, followed by how many beats per minute the song is. Not that we use the beat per minutes a lot, but and I usually try to include time signature in there as well. So name of song, key of song, beats per minute, and then time signature. So to get to a set, we come over here and we have some sets that are already kind of pre-programmed that help us. The reason we want to work from a template is a template stores a lot of information, like it does pre-programs to set to certain locator points. I have it pre-programmed to set to match with the Novation keyboard, so we can hit 1 and it's going to go straight to song locator number 1. We can hit 2, it's going to go to locator number 2. Those can be found here in Music. I have a live set template, and you can see it's a live set template. I've done this was March 2016 when I set this up, and it has mapping with the keyboard. So a basic template would look something like so. It's blank, but if we switch over to the session view, you can see there's a lot of stuff kind of pre-programmed in here, and it's matching the same basic structure of all of our tracks that we've already formatted. The only difference is I've added this little transition pad, which we've kind of been working with. Not real sure if we're going to keep working with it or not, but it has some advantages. So if we go back to sets, we pull one that's already been done. What we basically do in this, well, let me get through this real quick. I'll take a song that's formatted, and all we pretty much have to do is just drag it over here. So I don't have to recreate the song or recreate the click track or anything along those lines. All I have to do is just kind of copy and drag it. But this is where it gets a little bit challenging, because once it's drug over, that's not the end of it. I have to select certain portions of that song and put them in the right spot. So for instance, I've just selected the click track, the tempo track, the control track, which we don't usually have, a repeat track, which we don't really use, all of the markers, which are actually MIDI labels of a file in the original track. And then I can come down here and I can just delete those things. And we've got a click track and a guide track. Most of the newer ones, I've already grouped these together, but I can go Command G and group that together, and Command R renames it, so we can just call this close. So what happens here is we have all of these songs that are set up on this, and if I want to do the next song, these locator points are already kind of preset, so all I have to do is press 2 and it's going to go straight to that. I can pick the next song that I want, and what gets a little bit challenging here is it has to be drug into this section that says drop files and folders here. So if I want to do another one, I would drop it down here, reselect everything, but at this point I have to select it all and kind of drag it over to this next line. And at this point it's important that I don't move it. Let's see. I think I moved it. There it goes. And so I'll zoom in. I'd get this right on the start of a measure. I'd come back here and tell it I want it to start right there on that measure. Then I'm going to unselect portions of this. I selected close too. I didn't mean to do that. Let's pull it back. This is why it's important to not go too quickly with this, because you can really mess things up quickly. And I'll just take these guys, drag them back over, and I'll make it a little bigger so it'll drag a lot faster. Alright, and I didn't really want the click in the guide to go either, so I'll drag those guys back over, but I do want all this stuff there. So I take this thing, I go down, I select here to click and guide, and then I would just drag it up into number 2 slot, maybe. I've got the transition pad, which isn't a part of it. So we'll go original track here, take it up. And the only way I'm able to do this is I've formatted everything to have the same exact locations. I'm actually going to move this down 1 because it'll make things a little easier in the future. So I select these guys, come up, and put him right there, and you can see I'm a little bit off. I'm about a measure off with these, so I can come here, drag that back over, and as soon as we hit go, it's gonna start right where it's supposed to start. So in order to get out of this, to show you what a final set looks like, we're gonna do that. We're gonna not save anything there because I just picked those randomly. But this is what a typical set would look like once it kind of already gets formatted. I'll drag this over so you can see it a little better. And it's set where if I hit the 1 on the keyboard, it goes straight to locator 1. If I hit 2, it goes to locator 2. You'll notice this little guy here. What it does is, you can't really see it all that well, but that's actually locator 10. And what I've done is I've just set a little repeat. So what it's going to do is it's just going to constantly fire to locator 10. It's just going to stay in that until I either hit stop to play, or if I'm here and I'm in the middle of the fire, all I have to do is just hit 2. If I hit 2, as soon as it gets to the next downbeat, it's going to get going. So what we need to know is how to get these songs out of this into the appropriate spot. So what we're going to do here is, you can see I've expanded some files here. There's 2 ways to do this. Probably more than 2 ways. Only 2 ways that I know. You can do it on this side in the arrangement view, or if you go up here to select the session view, I find it to be a little bit easier here. This is basically the click track here. You can see it's all labeled at the top. So I'd come here to audio 2. I don't want to send it to master. I want to send it to an external out. The external out we've already set up, so I want the click to go to 3. And do the same thing over here for the guide track. I don't want it to go to master. I want it to go to external 4. Q out is basically the internal metronome. I always set that to 3 just in case somebody accidentally hits it. It's still going to go to your headphones and not to the thing. Then master out still set to 1 and 2. So at this point when we play, I'll go back over to the arrangement view. You can see that it's firing audio, and you can't see it for what I have on my end, but we are sending audio into the Audio 4 Plus, and with all this connected to a system, you would see exactly what's going on. So this is the basic setup of what it looks like to get Ableton to produce sound through an iConnectivity Audio 4 Plus interface.